Some silences cry out with unspoken longing, while others linger, quietly yearning for just one moment to set ablaze the passion of a life yet to be embraced. My life with Hector felt like a beautifully decorated room, yet the air was thick with silence, untouched by the thrill of passion or the warmth of true connection for far too long. Gary, with his two knowing eyes, seemed to hold a mirror to my own dwindling youth, igniting a flicker of something forbidden in the shadowy corners of a forgotten cinema. On what seemed like just another ordinary Friday night, a crack appeared in the facade of my carefully crafted life, threatening to unravel everything I had known for 56 years. Hector, my partner for 10 years, was once again lost in another world. A business dinner, a late flight, yet another urgent matter that always overshadowed the tender moments we once cherished together. He was everything I admired, a beacon of success, yet somehow he felt like a distant dream rather than a tangible part of my world. The apartment we shared, a sleek modern space overlooking the glittering and different lights of the city, felt more like a beautifully curated museum than a place where our hearts could truly belong. When Gary, Hector's 20-year-old son, asked me to watch a movie, it felt like a simple invitation, a way to fill the silence of an empty evening. Little did I know it would stir something deeper within me, something that danced on the edge of what was right and what was not. We had stolen countless afternoons and evenings together since he returned to the city after college, moments that filled the emptiness left by his father's frequent absence. Gary was a breath of fresh air, his spirit a dazzling spark against the dull backdrop of my life. He was an athlete radiating a magnetic charm, his smile swift and sincere, as if it could light up the very air around him. I was captivated by his youth, his simple view of the world, the fervor with which he shared his dreams, something Hector had long abandoned for the confines of boardrooms and balance sheets. I had always embraced who I was, secure in my own skin, but when his gaze finally landed on me, it ignited a fire I never saw coming. That night, an electric tension hung in the air the moment we entered the grand old art house cinema downtown. It was a treasure from a bygone time, with velvet seats and ornate plasterwork, wrapped in the quiet, sacred whispers of those who cherished it. Maybe it was the film we chose, a shadowy noir that neither of us truly cared for, its dark, rain-soaked streets reflecting the bittersweet ache that often lingered in my heart. Or perhaps it was the undeniable truth that, for the first time, I felt a stirring awareness of him not just as Hector's son, but as Gary, the man who made my heart race in ways I never thought possible. We settled into the last row as we always did, wrapped in the comforting embrace of shadows, a secret world just for us. The distance from the rest of the audience wrapped us in a cocoon of intimacy, as if we were the only two souls in that expansive, dimly lit world. At first, everything unfolded just like it always did. He'd grab the popcorn, those fluffy kernels he affectionately dubbed doves, while I'd take care of the sodas. Soft laughter danced between them, igniting a spark with each of his whispered, teasing remarks about the overly dramatic previews. I sank into my seat, bracing myself for a few hours of bittersweet escape, knowing that the moments ahead would linger in my heart long after they faded away. Yet, as the film revealed its tangled story, an unexpected connection began to blossom in the shadows beside me. His arm brushed against mine on the shared armrest, lingering just a moment too long, sending a thrill through me that felt both exciting and wrong. A brief touch, a spark of longing. Initially, I brushed it off as mere fantasy, a trick of the dim light and the enticing shadows that danced around me. When his hand inched closer to mine, brushing softly against my knuckles, I felt a spark that told me this was anything but accidental. My heart raced, caught in a whirlwind of unexpected emotions. Every nerve in my body ignited, a rush of forbidden desire coursing through me, leaving me breathless and trembling. I could have walked away, but something held me back. I could have pulled away just enough to keep the world at bay. I could have whispered a playful remark to shatter the tension between us. I didn't do any of that. Instead, my breath quickened, an unfamiliar warmth spreading through me, tightening low in my belly. His presence ignited a longing within me, a painful awareness of the space that separated us, until it vanished completely. The shadows of the cinema wrapped us in secrecy, a soft barrier shielding our electrifying connection. The air crackled with unspoken words, a magnetic force drawing us closer, yet keeping us apart, a delicate dance of longing and restraint. My heart raced as I averted my gaze, unable to face the intensity of his presence. In that moment I let go, embracing the quiet ache within. It felt wild, and deep down I understood the risks. He was a fleeting presence, a whisper of someone I had only glimpsed through Hector's eyes. He was just a boy a lifetime away from my world. Yet, the warmth of his presence, the thrilling allure of the unknown, held me captive in that fleeting moment. My body felt like it was betraying me, moving with a longing I couldn't control. Drawn by an unspoken pull, my heart raced, caught in a whirlwind of confusion. I bit my lip, trying to suppress the nervous excitement that surged within me. The movie flickered, a haunting blend of shadows and whispers, leaving a bittersweet ache in the air. I was left in the silence, unaware of the whispers that surrounded me. Every part of me was drawn to the man next to me, to the gentle warmth of his hand resting on mine, to the faint, fresh scent of his skin, a clean, youthful aroma that felt both unfamiliar and utterly captivating. I risked a glimpse, just a sliver of light breaking through the darkness. His gaze was locked on me, not the screen but me alone, his silhouette glowing in the soft, flickering light. His gaze held a tantalizing blend of intrigue and, could it be, pleasure? A fleeting, secretive smile danced at the corners of his lips. In the shadows of the dimly lit room, our unspoken connection pulsed, unnoticed by the world around us. In that fleeting moment, it felt as if the universe had vanished, leaving only the intoxicating closeness of our shared seat. As the film drew to a close and the lights flickered back to life, we lingered in a breathless hush, the weight of unspoken feelings hanging in the air with each passing credit. The enchantment faded, yet its haunting whisper remained. The silence between us was thick, a heavy presence that filled the car as we drove home, each heartbeat echoing the unspoken words hanging in the air. Something had shifted between us, and I could feel the weight of it in the air. What would unfold from this moment onward? And more hauntingly, what did I truly desire to unfold? A week later the message came, igniting a spark of hope and longing in her heart. A fleeting message from Gary, tinged with unspoken longing. Discovered a new film that tugs at the heartstrings. This old French thriller seems like it could stir something deep within you. Unfettered Friday. My heart didn't merely race. It seemed to freeze for a moment, then surged back to life with a sharp, aching pulse. The title, he whispered, one I barely recognized, was notorious for its tangled characters and the electric tension that hung in the air, thick with unspoken desires. A shiver ran through me as I realized the weight of unspoken words between us. He understood just as I did, and that knowledge felt both thrilling and terrifying. Still, I couldn't help but say yes. I typed back, heart racing, Friday works. I pushed aside the nagging doubts, refusing to let reason drown out the thrill of the unknown. The days that followed were filled with a bittersweet ache, a longing that twisted in the heart and whispered of forbidden desires. I found myself lost in the memories of that first cinema night, reliving each stolen glance, each fleeting touch, and the rush of warmth that felt so wrong yet so right. I convinced myself it was just a fleeting moment, a whisper of temptation in the shadows, ignited by our closeness. Yet I found it impossible to deceive even my own heart. Friday crept in, wrapped in the sultry embrace of a summer evening. Our eyes locked across the dimly lit room of the art house cinema, a spark igniting in the shadows. This time, as we settled into the last row, it felt different. Less a matter of routine and more a quiet promise shared between us, charged with unspoken longing. The room felt like a secret, nearly deserted, with just a handful of souls lingering in the shadows. The air crackled with unspoken words, creating a space that was both expansive and achingly close. From the moment we sat down, his gaze lingered on me, a steady electric awareness that sent shivers down my spine. The film started, its black and white images dancing across the screen, steeped in shadows and unvoiced longings. Yet, the true turmoil, the kind that sent shivers through my veins and made my heart race, unfolded right next to me. Every soft word exchanged, every secretive glance shared between the characters mirrored the thrilling, unacknowledged tension that crackled between Gary and me. He came for her sooner this time, heart racing with a mix of longing and fear. His hand slipped into mine in the shadows, no longer hesitant like before, but filled with a daring certainty that sent shivers down my spine. His fingers intertwined with mine, a simple yet powerful gesture that ignited a thrill deep within me. Then his other hand brushed against my arm as it slid along the armrest, igniting a spark that sent shivers down my spine. As his hand found its way to my waist, A gentle touch that sent shivers down my spine. I couldn't bring myself to pull away. Without thinking, I found myself leaning closer to him. His breath brushed my ear, igniting a spark I knew we shouldn't feel. "You haunt my thoughts, Jennifer." His whisper was rough, tinged with a feeling that left me breathless and yearning for more. It was a spark that ignited something deeper, a connection that felt both thrilling and wrong. It held a weight, a raw honesty that left me breathless. I remained silent, my heart racing with unspoken feelings. My heart whispered in every gesture, revealing the truth I dared not say. I tilted my head just enough for my cheek to graze his, and then our lips met, igniting a spark that felt both thrilling and wrong. The first kiss lingered, a gentle inquiry wrapped in uncertainty, but it swiftly intensified, growing more fervent, more insistent. His hand brushed against my back, pulling me nearer, shaping me to him in a way that felt both thrilling and wrong. As the characters on screen battled their fictional hearts, we found ourselves entwined in our own intense, unspoken turmoil, hidden away in the shadows. His hands glided softly, almost worshipfully, over the curve of my hip, trailing down my thigh, a touch that felt both pure and achingly aware. A spark ignited within me, a tumult of longing and shame, intertwined with a wild, reckless joy that felt both exhilarating and forbidden. We began hesitantly, but soon the urgency took over, our bodies discovering a silent, instinctive rhythm that matched the sultry jazz playing in the background. The sensation of being watched, while the other patrons remained unaware, intensified the secret excitement of our encounter, a sharp reminder of our forbidden connection. As the cinema lights flickered on, marking the end of our secret moment, we were left breathless, our bodies still quivering with the intensity of what we had shared. We broke away, breathless, our eyes locking in a silent understanding that felt both thrilling and dangerous. What we experienced was so much deeper than a simple movie date. It was a moment of collision. The days that followed were a whirlwind of nervous anticipation and electric tension. Each glance Gary and I shared when Hector was absent, or during his visits, was charged with an unspoken longing that only we could feel. The familiar corners of the apartment, the kitchen, the living room, the hallways, transformed into electric realms, pulsing with the haunting echo of our hidden connection. We couldn't erase the memory of what unfolded in the shadows of the cinema. It had forever changed the delicate balance that existed between us. When he suggested another date, another movie, my pause was just for show, a final gesture to a decorum I had shed, or maybe one I simply no longer desired. A shiver ran down my spine as I realized this time, there was no escape, no mask to hide behind. We stepped into the cinema, two souls cloaked in the guise of normalcy, a woman and her partner's captivating son, savoring a stolen moment together. Yet, as we crossed from the bright lobby into the dim, inviting shadows of the screening room, everything changed. The movie faded into the background, a mere stage for the unspoken tension that crackled between us. The true spectacle, the one that made my heart race wildly within my chest, unfolded solely between us. We lingered in the last row, a quiet understanding binding us to this secret moment. Every moment felt electric, his leg brushing against mine igniting a spark I couldn't ignore. The intoxicating scent of his cologne wrapped around me, and his gaze pierced through the shadows, leaving me breathless and yearning for more. From the very first glance he cast my way, I felt the weight of unspoken desires. He leaned in close, and for a heartbeat, the world faded away, leaving only the undeniable pull between them. Our lips met, a tentative brush that ignited something deep and undeniable. This time doubt had no place and guilt lingered just out of reach, waiting in the shadows. In that fleeting instant everything else faded away, leaving only the intense longing to be near, to be wanted, to be truly noticed. His touch lingered, soft yet electric, a silent plea for something deeper than mere words. I gasped, my body responding as his touch became more daring. A soft sigh escaped my lips as his mouth brushed against the delicate skin of my neck, each kiss a blend of gentle affection and barely contained passion. I nestled against him, my body brushing his, sensing the firm contours of his youth, the electric energy that flowed between us. In that fleeting instant we were consumed by a rush of feelings, lost in the intensity of our transformation. Every touch, every caress, every whispered sigh pulled me deeper into a world where nothing else mattered, where our identities faded away. With every secret kiss and every hesitant caress, the air crackled with a thrilling tension, binding our hearts in a perilous dance we both craved to continue. We crafted our own exquisite, reckless downfall. As the credits rolled and the lights gradually brightened, we exchanged a wordless glance, the remnants of our fervor enveloping us like a forbidden embrace. In the silence between us, the weight of our actions hung heavy, unspoken yet profoundly understood. We felt an undeniable pull, a magnetic connection that bound us in ways we couldn't ignore. We exited the cinema, fingers intertwined, a quiet rebellion against everything around us. The shadows of the room held secrets of a connection that was anything but ordinary. It had seen the spark of something profound, something that pulled at the heart, something that felt just out of reach. Entangled. In that fleeting moment, neither of us could bear to pull away. Since that unforgettable night at the cinema, everything between us shifted in a way that felt both thrilling and dangerous. The thrill of stolen glances and the brush of fingertips felt like a secret dance, charged with an intensity that was impossible to ignore. It was the undeniable truth, the silent understanding that we had crossed a line, that we had experienced something deep and transformative, forever changing the nature of what we were to each other. The days at home, while Hector was off on yet another business trip, unfolded in a curious blend of mundane routine and thrilling anticipation. In public, we wore our masks, careful to shield our secret from prying eyes, especially when others were around. Yet, our smiles whispered hidden truths, and our words danced with meanings that only we understood. Each time we met in the hallway, each moment our eyes locked in the expansive, echoing corners of the penthouse, his gaze felt like a soft touch, igniting a warmth that coursed through me. One evening, as I stood in the kitchen brewing coffee, the familiar act felt like a fragile lifeline amidst the storm of my feelings. His presence enveloped me like a warm whisper, a silent promise hanging in the air before he even uttered a word. He stepped closer, a mix of solace and ache swirling between us, his presence radiating the quiet confidence of someone unafraid to pursue what he desires. "Will you be heading to bed early tonight, Jennifer?" he whispered, his voice a soft, secret caress. My hand trembled as I clutched the coffee filter, a rush of unspoken feelings swirling within me. It was a question laced with unspoken desires. I always knew it would come to this. He felt it deep within him. I gazed at him, pretending to be confused, yet I was helplessly drawn into the depths of his dark, daring eyes. "It depends," I replied, my voice trembling with the weight of unspoken feelings I desperately tried to mask. "What makes you curious?" "Maybe," he whispered, a teasing smile playing on his lips, "we could stay in and watch another movie. Just the two of us." The silence hung heavy, brimming with unvoiced desires and hidden truths. With every breath, I felt the weight of anticipation, each inhale a quiet resolve, each exhale a whispered release of everything that held us apart. The thought sent a thrill through her, a spark of something dangerous yet irresistible. It was destined to happen. Yet, the mere thought of it sent a thrill through me, a blend of dread and excitement that left me breathless. I perched on the kitchen island, silence enveloping us, my unvoiced agreement lingering like a secret between us. Later that night, as the city lights sparkled like scattered stars beyond the expansive windows, and the apartment felt heavy with the weight of Hector's absence, I found myself drawn once more to Gary's presence. This time there were no flickering lights or distant whispers in the dark. Just the two of us, the flickering light of the television casting shadows around us, creating a heavy, intoxicating atmosphere that felt both thrilling and forbidden. He flicked on the TV, a random movie flickering to life, but our eyes were locked on each other, oblivious to the world around us. His proximity felt like a quiet tempest, building intensity, ready to unleash its passion at any second. When he finally spoke, his voice was a mere whisper, but it echoed within me like a thunderous declaration. "You realize this is more than a mere game, right?" I hesitated, my heart racing in the silence. From that first hesitant brush in the shadows of the cinema, I had sensed it, but to speak it out loud, to let it escape my lips, was something entirely different, something irrevocable. "I've always known." "Text." I finally whispered my secret. The truth lingered in the air, delicate and perilous, much like the longing that wrapped around us. In that fleeting moment, a shiver ran through me as I realized there was no way to retreat, no way to escape the tangled web we had woven together. The film played on, its light dancing across the screen, casting fleeting shadows that highlighted the intensity in his eyes and the sharpness of his jawline. Words felt unnecessary, as the silence between them spoke volumes. The quiet that hung in the air whispered of our unspoken desires, and the thrill of crossing boundaries together. His fingers brushed against my skin, a fleeting moment that ignited a fire within, charged with unspoken desire. A shiver ran down my spine. "Stay with me, please." Text. I found myself whispering a desperate plea, pulled from the depths of my aching loneliness. "We can't." I let my voice slip out, soft and uncertain, as if it were a secret meant only for the shadows. It was a fleeting gesture, a last whisper of a conscience I was desperately letting go. He tilted his head ever so slightly, his gaze locked onto mine, igniting a spark that felt both thrilling and dangerous. "So just say the word and I'll pull away." I couldn't. I just couldn't. The air around us thickened, charged with an unspoken tension, as if the universe itself was urging us to bridge the distance. A heartbeat, just one, until the chasm that kept us apart vanished into nothingness. His hand crept upward, brushing my arm and igniting a blaze of longing within me. My breath quickened, each inhale a struggle. There was no rush quite like the secret moments we shared, a thrill that felt both exhilarating and wrong. There was only the thrill of the moment, a heart-pounding rush that made everything else fade away, leaving just the two of them in a world that felt both exhilarating and wrong. "It's more than just longing, isn't it?" he asked, his voice trembling with a blend of conviction and an aching desire that felt almost wrong. I shook my head, words caught in my throat, a storm of feelings swirling inside me. It couldn't have been. It was an aching, reckless longing for intimacy, for passion, for the very essence of existence. His hand brushed against my face, fingers gliding along my jaw with a tenderness that felt both thrilling and wrong. His breath brushed against my lips, lingering in the space between us, yet he hesitated to take that final step. He lingered, yearning for a sign that I would give in completely. My heart raced, caught in a whirlwind of fear and thrill, knowing that one more step, one whispered word, could shatter everything and ignite a fire I never dared to dream of. Yet, we had ventured beyond too many limits, broken too many barriers. I shut my eyes, surrendering to the moment. When our lips finally touched, time stood still, a careful, lingering discovery, almost daring in its tender intensity. His hand brushed against my waist, drawing me in with a tender urgency. The film faded into the background, a distant melody to our own secret, aching story. The kiss was tender, lingering in the air like a secret, filled with unspoken longing. It felt like we were treading on hallowed ground, each step heavy with the weight of unspoken desires. We were aware of the dangers lurking in the shadows, yet the pull between us was irresistible, and retreat was never an option. My fingers grasped the fabric of his shirt, seeking solace as everything around us faded and spun out of control. As we stood so close, our breaths mingled in the shadowy silence, a spark igniting between us that felt both thrilling and wrong. My heart raced, and his piercing gaze ignited a fire within me that sent shivers down my spine. His gaze met mine, a wordless question hanging in the air, urging us to take a step further into the unknown. Yet the words remained trapped, unspoken and aching to be released. They couldn't, for to stop him would mean extinguishing the only spark that had ignited my heart in what felt like an eternity. In my silence, a weight hung heavy between us, and in that deep, echoing stillness, everything changed forever. His fingers grazed my back, a whisper of a touch that sent shivers down my spine. Time stood still, wrapped in a delicate tension where each brush of skin whispered secrets, and every breath held the weight of unspoken desires. The film faded to black, its credits drifting away, yet we lingered in that fragile moment, hearts racing, uncertain of what lay ahead. Outside, the city throbbed with life, oblivious to the quiet storm brewing above, in a room lit by the soft, distant glow of a long-lost film. In that moment, silence enveloped us as we turned away, our gazes locking with a haunting understanding that we had stepped into a realm where retreat was impossible. I rose before him, sensing his eyes on me, a mix of longing and desire, as I moved toward the door of my own sanctuary. I hesitated for a heartbeat, then slipped away into the shadows of the corridor. "Good night, Gary," I breathed softly, my heart racing as I kept my back to him. Yet, deep down, we understood that this was just the beginning of something we shouldn't have. It was just the start of a breathtaking, perilous fall.